Smokes for me. Oh, hello. Hi, I didn't see you there. Hi, everyone, and welcome to today's episode of Dan Studio, where we bring you the latest news in a short and informative format, and of course, in the comfort of a studio. Now, you may be wondering, hey Dan, it's only episode 3. How come you're no longer in your studio? Well, that's a good question, my viewers. And that's because as of Monday the 23rd of March, the state of Victoria in Australia has officially gone into shutdown mode, which is actually the topic for today's episode. As everyone can see, I'm currently recording this episode inside my own living room. This is all because, as I mentioned before, as of Monday the 23rd of March, the state of Victoria here has actually gone into shutdown, leaving only the essential services to be remained open. Now, in order to cooperate with the government's wishes and to help stop the spread of COVID-19, we have also decided to isolate ourselves and to work from home. This is all to comply with a new set of rules that Prime Minister Scott Morrison has announced that all Australians should follow ahead of the nationwide shutdown.
As I think you know, because the Prime Minister has taken you through in broad detail, the National Cabinet took some unprecedented steps, huge steps yesterday, to keep Victorians and indeed Australians safe. This is appropriate. It's painful, but it is absolutely appropriate. Now, I'll run through each of those settings, and of course we'll move to questions. But these bans, this shutdown, includes pubs, clubs, nightclubs, Crown Casino, licensed venues in hotels and pubs beyond that, gyms, indoor sporting venues, places of worship, cinemas, entertainment venues, weddings and funerals. This list is comprehensive. This list basically represents a very big step, a massive step that is essential to keep Victorians and Australians safe.
Now, this is all to make sure that the people actually comply with the new set of rules from the government and to avoid as many people as we can, as social distancing is now currently the best weapon we can use to fight against the coronavirus and stop the spread. As you can see, the streets of Melbourne are pretty much empty now. Everyone is encouraged to stay indoors and not have to leave their house unless they absolutely have to. So in order to comply with these rules, we will be recording the next few episodes of Dan Studio here in my living room instead of the studio. I know everyone was just getting accustomed and getting, settled into the studio. It's getting comfortable. And now we all of a sudden changed environment. It's only been 3 episodes and we had to change environment. And I'm sitting here holding this mic looking like a washed up stand-up comedian, which I'm not. Now, on the last episode, we talked about how universities were moving their classes online in order to stop their students from coming into contact with one another. Well, following the news of the shutdown, Victoria has then decided to announce that on Tuesday, the 24th of March, all schools in Victoria are to be closed.
All Victorian schools will close tomorrow as the number of coronavirus cases soars to 355. Live now to Gabriella Power. Gabriella, Premier Daniel Andrews has just provided an update. What's the latest?
Well, Annalise, all Victorian schools will close tomorrow, and this is a breakaway from the government's national approach. We heard last night Prime Minister Scott Morrison saying that he doesn't want schools to close, and the last thing that he wants right now is for children to miss out on their education. But Premier Daniel Andrews yesterday made the decision to close schools from tomorrow, and this was after there were more cases of COVID-19 confirmed in Victoria. He has just provided an update, and there are 59 new cases of coronavirus, bringing the state's total now to 355. Now, he says in terms of closing the schools tomorrow, well, Victoria is in a unique position where we already had school holidays coming up on Friday, so he's just bringing those school holidays forward, and we can expect that schools will reopen after the school holidays.
So now kids have an even earlier holiday period until who knows when. There's no declared, date. And I gotta say again, God damn, man, why are these kids always so lucky? Why couldn't this happen when I was in school? I wanted extra holiday periods, except no, I had to go to school. And if there was no school, I had to go to extra school. If there was no extra school, I had to go to extra school. But now, all schools are shut. You don't even have to go to extra school or extra school. Sorry, I apologize to everyone for me having a rant there. I got a lot of bottled up emotion about, not being able to skip school, having to go every single day of the week. Now, in order for the government to make sure that people are complying with these rules, police have now begun to use FaceTime in order to check up on people who should be in quarantine. Deputy Commissioner Rick Nugent has said that 500 police officers will be taking over this task as they have received numerous amount of phone calls from the public alerting them of people who have been breaching the self-isolation rules.
Hundreds of Australians are dobbing in members of the public to police for flouting the restrictions on social distancing. Businesses have already been caught out trying to bend the rules, while one woman back from a holiday was hit with a fine.
It was empty when officers turned up today. Police have upped their patrols after being given special powers to issue on-the-spot fines for people and businesses who ignore public health orders.
Gave a clear warning that the time for cautioning people over not adhering to self-isolation was over.
Over the past 2 days, there have been around 600 calls to Crime Stoppers relating to coronavirus. That's on top of 200 complaints made prior to the tougher restrictions.
Now, if you should be in quarantine, I don't understand the mindset that you have in thinking, you know what, today's a good day that I'm going to go outside. We shouldn't be going outside no matter what. And I have to say, if you're in quarantine, you're lucky. You get to stay indoors all day. You get to just stay home, play your video games, watch your Netflix. You don't have to bother with the public. Also, I would also suggest that people do actually answer these calls. Police are also doing door-to-door checkups on people who actually should be at home. I don't want the police to come to my door. I don't want them to come and see my personal space. This is my space. Yo, you can do your thing in your space. You don't have to come to mine. And most of the time, police that comes to your door, it's not normally a good thing. Normally, the issue, you are fine. So I definitely don't want to be receiving a fine myself because I won't be able to afford it, and I'm struggling a lot right now. Now, as I said on the previous episodes, I do want to point out again that the coronavirus is an extremely serious situation. To be taking into account what the government is telling us and complying with these new set of rules. It is extremely important to stay indoors and avoid going outside and continue to practice social distancing as the rate of people being diagnosed with the coronavirus is increasing at an extraordinary pace. Be sure to avoid crowded areas and always maintain a good level of hygiene. Remember to constantly wash your hands and always wear face masks if you need to. And remember, if you think you won't be contracted or suffer from the coronavirus, there are definitely people out there who will. So let's continue to be mindful of others, and we together will get through this roadblock. Thank you for tuning into today's episode of Dan's Studio. I know everyone was just getting used to the whole studio environment, and there's just a random drastic change, and now we're in my living room. So I'm your host, Daniel. Thank you for tuning in today's episode. I'll see you guys on the next one.